Nobody saw this coming, not even the people who made it. When the tracking numbers first dropped for the Michael movie, Hollywood insiders were saying maybe $50, maybe $60 million opening weekend. Safe, respectable numbers for a music biopic, and then the actual weekend happened, and everyone's jaw hit the floor. The film pulled in $97 million domestically and $217 million globally in its very first weekend. That's not just a win. That's a historic, never-been-done-before, rewrite-the-rulebook kind of moment. The biggest openers ever for music biopics before this were Straight Outta Compton at $60 million, Bohemian Rhapsody at $51 million, and Elvis at $31 million. Michael didn't just beat those, it obliterated them by nearly $40 million on opening weekend alone. But here's what makes this even crazier. This movie almost didn't happen the way you're seeing it right now. The moment this movie dropped, it didn't feel like a normal release. It felt like an event. Cinemas were packed, shows were selling out, and people weren't just watching quietly. They were reacting, clapping, dancing, even coming back again with friends. Social media blew up almost instantly with clips, reactions, and breakdowns flooding timelines within hours. And what's really crazy is who's watching. It's not just longtime fans who grew up with Michael Jackson, it's a whole new generation discovering him like it's happening for the first time. That kind of crossover almost never happens with biopics. Usually, the hype dies after opening weekend. But this, it's spreading fast. Word of mouth is pulling more people in, and the energy around it keeps building instead of fading. And when you see audiences treating a movie like a live experience, you already know something different is happening. Because this isn't just nostalgia hitting people, it's something deeper that's pulling them in. But hype alone doesn't create numbers like this. So what exactly is driving the film to dominate worldwide? The crazy part is, this wasn't just a strong opening. It turned into a full global takeover within days. The movie didn't just perform in the US, it dominated internationally, pulling massive numbers from Europe, Asia, and markets that usually don't go this hard for music biopics. And that tells you something important. This isn't just an American success story. This is Michael Jackson doing what he's always done best, owning the world stage. Reports started coming in about sold-out screenings across multiple countries, repeat viewings, and audiences treating the film like an event, not just a one-time watch. And when you see that kind of behavior, you already know what's happening. This isn't slowing down anytime soon. Because when a film crosses over from good movie to must-watch experience, the numbers don't just grow, they multiply. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because numbers like this don't happen by luck. There's a reason this movie hit different, and it starts with how this entire project was built from the ground up. What most people don't realize is this movie wasn't treated like a typical biopic behind the scenes. It was built like a blockbuster. The budget alone put it in a completely different league, and the team behind it made sure this wasn't going to be some watered-down version of Michael Jackson's story. You've got Antoine Fuqua directing it, someone known for intense, high-impact films, not safe, predictable storytelling. Then you bring in Graham King, the same producer who turned Bohemian Rhapsody into a global hit, and suddenly you're looking at a project designed to win big, not just perform decently. But the real advantage? Full access to Michael's estate. That means real music, real choreography, and a level of authenticity most films can't even come close to. This wasn't rushed. It was carefully built to hit worldwide. And when you combine that level of scale with the kind of hype we're seeing, you start to understand why the numbers are exploding. But even with all this power behind it, one decision changed everything. The moment people saw Jafar Jackson on screen, everything shifted. This wasn't just another actor trying to copy Michael's moves or study his voice. This was family. Someone who didn't just learn the performance but grew up around it. And you can feel that difference instantly. The way he walks, the way he holds himself, even the smallest expressions, it doesn't feel forced or overdone. That's what caught people off guard. Early clips started going viral not because of marketing, but because viewers couldn't believe how real it looked. Some even said it felt like watching Michael again. And that's a dangerous level of expectation, but it worked. Because once audiences believe what they're seeing, they don't just watch, they connect. And that emotional connection is what turns a movie into something bigger. But here's the thing most people overlook. Behind all that emotion, there's a massive system pushing this film to another level. And that's where the real power comes in. This is where the film gets genuinely fascinating, because there is a massive, almost unprecedented war happening between professional critics and regular moviegoers. On Rotten Tomatoes, only 37% of critics gave it a positive review, with the consensus reading that while Jafar Jackson brings MJ to life with uncanny precision, The film plays like a greatest hits album that never digs deep enough. Film reviewers complained the movie takes a sanitized look at Jackson's life by skipping the abuse allegations entirely. They called it surface level, a celebration without the complexity. But audiences? They gave it an A on Cinema Score, with 90% saying they'd recommend it to others. People were literally dancing in movie theaters. That's not a metaphor. Sources close to the film reported, "Something special is happening, people are dancing in the theaters." So who's right? The critics dissecting it as a piece of cinema? Or the fans who showed up to celebrate the man and his music? Honestly, that tension is exactly what's keeping this conversation alive. As of right now, Michael has crossed over $400 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing film of 2026 already. If ticket sales hit $700 million, which is the current projection, Michael will rank among Lionsgate's biggest films of all time, sitting alongside their Hunger Games and Twilight franchises. And yes, a sequel is already being discussed. Lionsgate's chairman said they're making sure we're in a position to deliver more Michael soon after we release the first film, and noted that 30% of material from the original 3.5-hour cut could be reused in a potential future film. So this story isn't over. It's just getting started. At the end of the day, movies don't break records just because people like them. They break records because everything behind the scenes is designed to win. And this film had that from the start. We're talking global distribution across major markets, strong studio backing, and a rollout strategy that made sure this wasn't just America's success, it was a worldwide event. Global distribution across major markets, strong studio backing, and a rollout strategy that made sure this wasn't just America's success, it was a worldwide event. The studios knew exactly what they were sitting on. Michael Jackson isn't just an artist. He's a global brand that still generates millions every single year. His music streams, his legacy sells, and now his life story is being packaged into a cinematic experience that people are willing to pay for more than once. That's where the numbers really start stacking up. Add in international demand, repeat viewings, and the kind of word of mouth this film is getting, and it becomes clear this wasn't luck, it was calculated. But here's where things get even more intense, because not everyone is fully on board with this success story. Here's what I want to leave you with, because I think it's the most interesting thing about all of this. Michael just became the biggest biopic opening in history, bigger than Oppenheimer, bigger than Elvis, bigger than anything. And it did it while completely avoiding the most controversial chapters of its subject's life. What does that tell us? That the world still has an unbelievable hunger for Michael Jackson, the music, the moves, the myth. But it also tells us that the full story hasn't been told yet. Maybe it can't be. Maybe it never will be. Whatever side of that debate you're on, the movie exists, the records are broken, and the King of Pop is back at the top of the conversation. Not as nostalgia, but as a force that still moves the world today. So now, I'm curious, did you watch the Michael movie yet? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments.